Well, state lawmakers hope they can repair trust in the criminal justice system in Colorado. That is the goal of a bipartisan bill, which would allow survivors of a crime the right to request a retest of DNA evidence in their case. Now, this is, of course, more fallout from the Missy Woods case. She is the former CBI scientist facing more than 100 felony charges for allegedly mishandling DNA evidence.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joining us now in studio. Colette, how does this bill aim to help survivors?
Well, Jessica Shannon, once those allegations about Woods came to light, lawmakers were left with a lot of questions last year. They aim to address those, and this new piece of legislation is an expansion of that, allowing survivors to request DNA evidence in their case as retested if there's wrongful action by a crime lab employee.
Judiciary can be a tough committee, of course.
In a committee with a bit of a reputation.
We're very hopeful.
A bill with a bit of a past is, of course, going to come with questions.
I'm sure you've heard of Yvonne Woods and 102 counts against her on criminal misconduct with DNA samples.
Republican State Representative Dan Woog is talking about Yvonne Missy Woods, a former forensic scientist who spent nearly 3 decades with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and now faces more than 100 felonies related to her alleged mishandling of DNA evidence.
It is difficult to have an effective system when you have someone doing that.
That's CBI's Deputy Director Lance Allen in the committee hearing on Tuesday speaking in favor of House Bill 1052.
Just a severe issue that has to be dealt with for victims.
Woog, one of the sponsors, says the legislation builds upon a bill passed last year, giving survivors the ability to request a retest of DNA evidence in their case.
CBI's testing resources are finite. This bill could overwhelm our DNA testing.
It's a point proven by Woods' case, which exacerbated a backlog in testing sexual assault evidence. Half of the lab work done at CBI in 2024 was dedicated to reviewing Woods' work. That meant the estimated turnaround time for results of DNA rape kits at this time last year was more than 500 days.
What we call our reported turnaround time, we're down to about 260 days. We are making good progress, but we still have a long ways to go.
Allen says it costs around $2,000 to retest a case.
As originally written, it looked like the way we understood it is if it was requested by the victim, then we would be obligated to do that testing.
A change was made to the bill, and now it would require a survivor to make such a request through a district attorney.
To ensure that there was a level of kind of vetting a request for retesting.
If we were to pass this and give victims a right to request retesting, would that take priority over defendants that are seeking post-conviction relief?
We would need to do both.
Ultimately, after a lot of discussion, the committee voted to advance this bipartisan bill unanimously. But it's only the beginning of more questions about how much this will cost Colorado.
The bill would also allow a survivor to use a preferred name during court proceedings. It's heading to the Appropriations Committee next, where lawmakers really want to pin down exactly how much it would cost. Remember, they came into this session with more than an $800 million budget shortfall. So that's going to be a question with every bill, but especially when you consider that last year the state already gave CBI millions in the wake of the Woods case.
Colette Bordelon in studio for us tonight, and Colette is committed to covering politics in Colorado. If you have a bill you want her to follow, scan the QR code on your screen for ways to connect with her, or email her directly at colette.bordelon@denver7.com.